What's up, everybody? I'm SS Multiverse, and today we're talking about Dragon Ball Super Episode 70, titled Champa's Challenge. This time we face off in baseball. Predictions. So this episode is going to air December 11th. But before we get into this, I want to talk a little bit about episode 69. It seems like a lot of fans got hurt by this whole part with, a Rowdy taking on Vegeta and Goku. And what you have to understand about that is, she's a gag character. I'm sure you've already heard that by now by a lot of other Dragon Ball Z YouTubers. So let me go in a little bit more detail, or maybe add some parts you probably haven't heard about. But let me also say, even if she wasn't a gag character, this doesn't mean Goku and Vegeta are weaker than they already are. Let's say a Rowdy just was this strong and she beat up Vegeta. That doesn't change how strong Goku and Vegeta is. It just means that there's somebody stronger. Now then you might be like, well, how did she get that strong? And I think would be the new problem. But a lot of times I feel like whenever somebody's stronger in Goku and Vegeta, a lot of fans jump in to defend them and just keep wanting to prove how strong they are. I feel like Dragon Ball fans want to have a monopoly on, at least some of them want to have a monopoly on anime and have Goku and Vegeta be like some of the strongest anime characters in existence. And it's just, I feel like that's never really going to happen because we have the existence of these characters that just defy logic or standard training procedures. And honestly, anyone could write a character stronger than Goku, Vegeta. You can, I can, anyone could technically just make a character and say that they're much stronger than Goku and Vegeta. I don't think they'll ever have a monopoly on it. But it is fun to have debates about who's the stronger. But just keep in mind with the whole Rowdy thing, she's a gag character. And not only that, this was like a crossover episode. They tried to really drag in the Dr. Slump fans for this. That's how it was advertised to be, a crossover in Japan. So it's not even like this is a Rowdy just coming into a standard Dragon Ball episode and just taking down Vegeta. This was a very specialized episode. And if you've seen crossovers before, they're always gonna neutralize the strongest fighter's powers. I remember they had a crossover with Dragon Ball, Toriko, and One Piece, and they had Goku going all out and only being even with Luffy, for example. And, we all know Goku's stronger, and watch the One Piece fans swarm in here for me saying that, but we all know Goku's stronger. No one in One Piece, as far as I know, can destroy, solar systems or planets, or they're not at that level yet. And that's fine. It's not what the anime is about. But my point being is that, of course, in a crossover episode, they're going to neutralize, the strongest fighters' abilities so they can have an actual episode that is fair to both sides, both of the fans. So, Rowdy being stronger than Vegeta and Goku is no big deal in my book. To those of you who are upset about it, you just kind of have to brush it off and move on. It's most likely going to be the smartest thing for you. Now, on to episode 70, we have Champa's Challenge. So obviously Champa is going to be the one to initiate this face-off in baseball. Now, where he gets the idea of baseball is going to be interesting. I don't recall Champa ever knowing about, Earth sports, but, this is... Who knows? He's the god of destruction. Who knows what gods of destruction do in the free time? Maybe someone will give him that idea. It says in the preview summary that it's going to be a friendly game of baseball, but I find that very suspicious. I don't think it's going to be anything but friendly. It also says for the preview for episode 70 that this is actually a secret play for Champa to just sneak on Earth and actually just eat a bunch of Earth junk food. Or I guess it doesn't have to be junk food, but just a bunch of Earth food. And it turns out that nobody really even knows how to play baseball, which is, once again, that's why I was asking, how does Champa even know about baseball? I feel like nobody even knows what it is as it is. But I mean, I guess when you're a god and that you hang out with Vados, I guess you can know a lot more than the average person. Also, this is kind of weird, but Champa's doing this to promote a friendship between universes 6 and 7. Now, that's interesting. To me, would he actually do something? I feel like Champa's kind of selfish, and I don't know if he truly wants to, promote a friendship. Maybe he's just only doing this for the food, or maybe also he secretly just wants to win again to get even, but I doubt actually to try to promote a friendship between the two universes. So also, a lot of this episode is going to be pretty hilarious because nobody knows the rules of baseball, but what's even more funny is if you watch the preview, you see Goku using Super Saiyan Blue. So they're going to be using powers, and Trunks even shoots a Ki Blast to stop Champa's hit. And this is just going to be really funny. Just the combination of everybody being absolutely clueless of what they're doing. And then also they're just going to be arguing about what powers they can use and what they can't, because also keep in mind, we have Whis and Vados here. They have all these incredible powers, some of which we haven't even seen yet, to manipulate time and energy. And just think about what they could do in baseball. I mean, they have every cheat possible in their back pocket. I mean, if worse comes to worse, if somebody got a hit, they could just go back in time and pitch a different pitch, so they can't even get that. But it appears it might be the catcher, or maybe some other position other than just flat out, hitters or the baseman or anything, which is good because that would ultimately ruin this game. So I think a lot of those episodes is going to be them ranting and arguing back and forth about what powers they can use and what's the rules. And thank God Yamcha's there. Yamcha could actually be a star because he's the only person other than maybe Gohan who has any types of skill whatsoever. Gohan was pretty good back in his high school, but that was against humans. Now he's facing people who are much stronger and could most likely throw a faster pitch than people he previously has played with. And you know what? Forget most likely, they can. It's Super Saiyan Blue Goku could definitely throw a harder pitch than any human being. Most of the fighters from Universe 6 do make another appearance. You have Vegeta, Batamo, Kava. They all come back, other than what appears to be Frost and Hit. And that makes sense because I cannot really see Hit or Frost really playing like this baseball type a game like baseball. They just don't seem like they're that type of guys, so that kind of makes sense. We also see Vegeta on Champa's side, and I think the reason for that is because they couldn't get Frost or Hit to come, so they had to give Champa some of their teammates, so they actually have a fair amount of people on each side of the teams. I'm also gonna say, I have to admit, I'm a little bit upset because I know I said in one of my videos that we weren't gonna see Botamo and Vegeta again, but here they are. So I didn't really predict they were gonna be playing baseball. So when I was saying that they didn't think they're gonna appear, I meant like as part of like an actual plot storyline. I don't count these filler-ish episodes. I don't want to call it filler because we don't know for a fact that it's filler, but it appears to be because it's just baseball between all these monstrously powerful fighters. And actually, I really hope Yamcha has a chance to shine in this episode. I feel like this is kind of his last chance to really make any kind of impact, even if it is just a small kind of filler type episode. This would be awesome to see him back in action, like actually performing well and actually defeating Goku and these god level characters and something, even if it's just baseball, that'd still be cool to see. So yeah, all in all, this episode just seems like it's going to be a very confusing baseball match between Universe 6 and 7. Champa is going to be stuffing his face in between scenes. Nobody knows what the rules of baseball are, and they're all going to abuse their own powers to try to win this baseball match, which is going to lead to a lot of frustration and arguing. And probably towards the end of the episode, they're all just going to be bickering and fighting with each other. I don't know. I don't think it's going to boil down to fist fights, but in all honesty, that's the only way I can see this ending, is just fighting and bickering and sour feelings. And I'm just going to throw in a prediction that I think Universe 7 is going to win. I mean, just look at their lineup. They have Whis, Beerus, Goku, and Yamcha. They just have all the good people on that side. So I don't see why I would say the other team would have any chance of winning. Although it's possible. One of the teams is clearly more stacked than the other. So I'm going to go up the stacked team on who's going to win. All right, the last thing I'll briefly brush on is, I know a lot of people don't like these types of episodes. They had their Rowley episode last time where, Vegeta was getting beat up by, a little robotic girl. A lot of people didn't like that. And then now we have like a baseball match. And of course I'm making them sound as worse as they are. But, just keep in mind, these are filler episodes. If you don't like them, they'll pass by. Just try to get a cheap laugh or not. And, if you're one of the people who doesn't like them, just forget about them afterwards, Like I always say, this doesn't change who Goku and Vegeta are. This doesn't mean they're weaker or they have softer personalities just because they're doing stuff like this. And the point of these episodes is to just kind of relax everybody, make them have a good laugh or two so they can get right back in the action. You kind of need these types of episodes. You can't just go from, killing a corrupt god, on Future Trunks' timeline, who's literally almost killed every single human, on Earth, to now hit killing Goku, in the next episode. Usually it just doesn't work. You kind of need a buffer in between. And that's essentially what these episodes are. There's buffers in between sagas. And if they do them well, I'll personally enjoy watching them. I'm not a huge fan of them. I think there's good filler. I think there could be better filler possible. But then again, who am I to say? I'm not Akira Toriyama. I don't know how he feels about, Dr. Slump. If that's in the back of his mind, if he really misses it and he wanted to make an episode about that, who am I to judge? That was his call. He's making great content. So I just saying, I personally, if I was writing this, probably wouldn't make an episode with, Arale coming back and defeating, Vegeta and having all these characters coming from another franchise, even if it was my own, just to kind of have a silly episode. My filler would be more similar to this like baseball match, or maybe I'd probably have like a mini villain come in. Kind of like how they had the copy Vegeta, although that was pretty bad too. That was one of my least favorite episodes in Dragon Ball Super. But I'd probably have like mini bad guys like that more than anything. But Garlic Jr. was some pretty damn good filler. That's where it was at. A lot of people like to make fun of that, but that was some good filler there. It was enjoyable to watch, and it was entertaining in its own sense. And that's kind of stuff I'd make if I were to make some filler episodes. Anyways, guys, now I'm just ranting and raving about useless stuff. That was my episode 70 predictions. Obviously, not too much is going to happen in this episode, so I just kind of I started talking more about like episode 69 more than anything, but I gave some predictions there. I think Universe 7 is going to win. I think they're not going to know the rules of baseball, and I think they're going to argue about powers and bicker to the very end. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen in episode 70. Write them in the comments. I'll read them like always. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video.